Yeah, I mean, and you know what I really like, and this is getting specific now, but we were talking about threes. Tatum didn't really have a great shooting night, especially from 3-point, but went to the line 15 times. I mean, that's the mark of an MVP, of a superstar. Gets what he wants, is aggressive. I know he got fouled on a three, so 3 of those are from a 3-pointer, but point being, he was in aggressive mode. Even like you saw a couple floaters tonight. I liked what he gave them, and not even to mention the defensive side of things. And I had like 2 tweets tonight, and one of them was just the symbolic block at the end of the game on Luka, just to say, you know what, not tonight, bud. You know, you're gonna get yours, but
he was screaming a little bit after that one too. Was that toward Luka or toward the Celtics bench? I couldn't tell.
It was just a barbaric.
Yeah,
it was a yelp. You know.
Yeah, it was just fired up. You know, that was the dagger right there. You know, and then Tatum and then Brown to go down and hit the 3 to really seal the deal. That was like the symbolic play of the game for me, because Luka's going to get his, and no one's going to argue how awesome he is in the offensive end, but it was only him tonight, really. And Tatum does it on both ends, and Luka right now isn't, or he just doesn't have the help to, like you know, the Celtics are obviously, and I know it's a little bit helter-skelter with them on defense, but I think we'd all agree that, you know, as a team, and especially Tatum individually, it has taken strides on the defensive end. So I thought that play really spoke volumes about it. Just a good all-around effort. It's hard to really put too much into the second half, because I will say this, I mean, in a league like the NBA, it's hard to hold on to those types of leads for the length of the game. And they did that. You know, they went up big, double digits, and aside from it, I think it got to 9 or 8, really, you know, kind of, I don't think
it got to 9 there at the end,
People weren't too worried about it at that point, but I mean, point I'm trying to make is that they were able to hold on to that double-digit lead for the majority of the game, which, you know, is tough to do in today's NBA.
Yeah, it cut in half, so you don't get worried in that spot. But the key is they answer, and they've done this in a handful of games this year. I think of Chicago. I think the New Orleans game was like that. I believe there's been a handful where the other team's racing back the entire second half, and the Celtics just hold them off with key basket after key basket. That Tatum dive off of Smart's pass, getting it to Horford in the corner, I think, was right after it got to 9. That was a great play. Smart had 9 assists, ton of great plays from him in this one, bouncing back from that Chicago game. So
Smart looked good,
the chat can calm down about him after a rough showing on Monday. And I thought Brogdon had some stretches.
How about Horford, too?
Where, Horford bounces back from 0-9. Brogdon probably has his best game since he's come back from injury in this one.
No, man, he shot 6 or 7 threes the other night, 24 points. He was amazing. He was the only good player.
He's had a few, so he's getting back to getting his feet under him. It's a good team effort overall. And Jaylen Brown, let's give him some credit, getting in control and just having a phenomenal game around the basket.
Yeah, he was great. The finishing with the left is elite, you know, and that's, you want to talk about things to his arsenal. I think he's been able to do that, but he just uses it so well. He uses his body around the rim really well there.
Ball handling was solid tonight, too.
Ball handling was great. And I do think, like, sometimes, you know, there's early Jaylen. You want to talk about some maturity. And, I'll criticize Jaylen for, I don't think, taking leaps and bounds in his game, but I do think he's gotten certainly more clever. I'm just talking the last year or two. He's made leaps and bounds over where he was in year 1 and 2. He's amazing where he's at right now. He's an all-star player, but he's his finishing around the rim. I do think a lot of times he was trying to just go up and yoke it sometimes on some people, but he has a couple things that he does extremely well now. Is goes in strong, know he's going to draw the contact, absorb the contact, and be able to hang in the air and still finish. And then he's got that great shift to the left and use his body to keep the defender away from him and score. I mean, it's really nifty, and he gets to the basket so fast, and he just finishes quick before you even have a chance to set yourself. So when he's attacking like that, he plays a game like that, it's great. Back to Brogdon, one thing I thought they made a point on the broadcast, and it is fair to say, you know, we don't have the benefit of seeing him night in, night out. But
Brogdon,
meaning prior to this season, you know, so
okay.
You know, we didn't have a chance to get to see him all the time.
Hey, Jimmy's got the Pacers pass.
Yeah, speak for yourself, bud.
No, but one thing they mentioned in the broadcast was that he looks as fit as he's been in the past few years. And I think that that's a fair assessment, even from the limited times that we've seen him. And again, we're not watching him nightly, and the Pacers aren't getting a lot of national television sort of games. He really does look fit and spry and like herky-jerky. First game back from injury, he was a tad slow, meaning he just looked cautious. And last couple of games, he's just looked really twitchy and quick. And
he never settles. I mean,
really, yeah.
That offensive rebound, he got it. Grant had the initial one, and he got it, I think, with time ticking out in the first half there, maybe first quarter. He gets it from mid-range. He could have just tossed up that 15-footer. Instead, he just started attacking the interior, dribbling around a little bit, and waiting for Brown to come in with that left-handed finish. I love that. That might have been my favorite play of the game. Just the way that this team scraps out points out of every possession. Offensive rebounds. Tatum had a pair of putbacks following Brown. You talk about how aggressive Brown was as a finisher in this game and in transition. They just go to the basket again and again and again. And when you mentioned the free throws with Tatum, he had 11 in that first half like it was nothing. So they're just living around the rim. I think at one point in that first quarter, the Celtics were outscoring the Mavericks total points with points in the paint. So they're just super aggressive. They keep the ball popping. Tatum deserves more assists than he gets because he's initiating so many of these sets. Smart ends up with them on those secondary plays. And you got great finishers everywhere. This offense, like you've talked about it, John. There's so many options. There's so many creators. There's so many shooters. They're not going to come back down to earth. Like they're just going to keep flowing up here. And it's crazy because the Kings are coming in on Friday who've just been at that level. And you're going to have like this Super Bowl of offense on Friday night. It's going to be epic.
Yeah. Question for you.
My guy Sabonis coming to town.
Yes. Question for you guys.
Answer.
Derek White starting, Grant not starting. Is this going to be a matchup specific sort of switcheroo with Ime? What do you think?
I think White's the primary guy. They saw some matchups they liked and squeezed Grant in there.
But you went away from it, and it looked like they settled in on Grant for a bit.
When I asked him about that, he said he liked like 5 or 6 matchups there where they liked Grant, but ultimately White was going to come back, and he did tonight. The lineup with White in there, much better than the Grant ones. I think Grant's like a +2 with those starters, and the White lineup entering this game was about +14. So it's a better look. The defenses are pretty close. We liked how they looked defensively with Grant in there with that group. But overall, they were pretty good in this one too, for that first half at least, before the slippage, whatever, taking the foot off the gas in the second half started. So I like it. We see White playing better with them. He starts 3 or 4 from 3. He slipped a little bit in the second half himself, just like everybody. But overall, I like him out there. I feel like he feels more empowered. He can be a secondary playmaker. He can be a screener with that group. That was one of my favorite moves Joe's made as coach so far, was putting him in the starting lineup. So Grant wasn't great tonight either. So I think he should get settled back in with that second unit, and they should roll with that group.
I like it too. I don't know. I do think that they could get away with it tonight. Dallas doesn't play very big. I mean, they have Powell in that starting lineup, and that's really about it for size. I mean, unless you're worried about JaVale McGee coming in and running the show. But I do like White in that lineup. I think he just allows the offense to do more, and obviously we know what he can do in the defensive end. I love Brogdon being just the first guard off the bench. I think Grant's. Again, I know a lot of people think Grant's a $20 million player. I don't know. I don't see it. I think he's much more suited for a 6th or 7th guy, and he should get paid accordingly that way. When Rob comes back, though, and apparently according to Woj, it's going to happen before Christmas. According to Sherrod, though, it might be a little bit sooner. So I'm going to stick with my guy Sherrod and hope that he comes back sooner than a month. But I think when Rob comes back, I don't know how that's going to change what Missoula decides to do. If Rob's going to come off the bench and just play limited minutes for a bit, or if they're going to put him in the starting lineup and play limited minutes, I don't know.
I feel like people think it's going to be double big, Jimmy, and I wonder what that's going to do to the offense.
I don't see it. I can't see Joe going back to double big.
If it's going to be double big, then they should have Grant in there.
I think we've learned enough. I think we've learned enough about him as a coach to know what he wants and see the look. I mean, he'll throw Grant at center.
See it. Cannot see.
Al's not even barely a big anymore, though, if we really think about it.
I know, but I mean, look, you're right. But at the end of the day, who are the 3 worst 3-point shooters statistically on the Celtics right now, Jimmy?
3 worst 3-point shooters in the Celtics?
Yeah.
I don't know. You tell me.
Smart,
Tatum,
Brown, Tatum. Okay. Yeah. And you're going to throw Rob in that lineup right there with Al, while he's shooting 41%. So all of a sudden, the moving around and shoot and all of that stuff there really goes. Again, you're talking about taking out 20% of your lineup with one person and another person who can knock down shots and allow you to play this offense that really moves. If you throw two bigs out there and one of them is Rob to start, you're really messing with that flow. So I do not want to start both of those guys. I really don't. I want to keep shooters out there as much as possible.